Hi guys, Bolts96 here, but the O is a 0. Now that we have passed the June 30th deadline and players' contracts have ended and they have become free agents, I've been taking a look at all the ones available, the ones who have not been picked up by another team yet, and I've decided to try and make a team out of them. Now, the only stipulation I've given myself is that I can't pick any free agents who were basically on the verge of joining another team, aka the likes of Milan Skriniar, who looks set to be announced as a PSG player any day now. So I've tried not to pick players like that. I've tried to only focus on free agents who are 100% available and who have not pretty much agreed to join another team yet. So make sure to stick around to find out who I put into my free agents starting 11. First up, on one of the most important positions on the pitch, goalkeeper. The contenders for this one are David De Gea, Timo Horn, Asmir Begovic, Salvatore Sirigu and Samir Handanovic. All 5 contenders have been really solid goalkeepers in their career, but considering the lack of game time over the past season for Horn, Begovic and Sirigu, the only 2 real contenders for this are De Gea and Handanovic. Now, Handanovic has been an ever-present of the Inter squad for a long time and has been superb for the entirety. Despite his not playing as frequently last season, he still managed 14 games in the league, conceding only 18 goals and keeping 5 clean sheets, which means he was getting a clean sheet every 3 games, and that is only 3 clean sheets less than Onana. Those stats are brilliant. However, having said all of that, De Gea was playing week in and week out for United last season, finishing with 17 clean sheets and the Golden Glove. Not forgetting he is also 6 years younger than Handanovic. Can't look past him. Right back. This one is going to be one of the weaker positions in our team. I am seeing Hector Bellerin on a few of these lists when I've been doing my research, but it does seem that he is going to be staying with his current club. So with that in mind, our contenders are Matt Doherty, Ola Aina, Juan Cuadrado, Andy Kappa and Ashley Young. Now, the majority of right backs available on a free this summer are from lower leagues, but these 5 players are coming from the top leagues in their country. Aina played a decent amount of games in Serie A last season, but he certainly isn't the best player here. Kappa has been quality in his career, but the past 2 seasons have been full of injuries, which leaves us with Doherty, Young and Cuadrado. Doherty is the younger of the 3, and it could be argued that he is the better player right now, but he did only play 2 games in the league last season, whereas Young played in nearly every game in the Premier League and was actually reasonably impressive considering his age, as did Cuadrado. Despite his age and that he is traditionally further up the field, I am going to go for Cuadrado. The man played most games last season for Juve and is still performing at the top level. Centre back, the 2 big ones that we have to address straight away are Milan Skriniar and Stefan de Vrij, both with Inter and both at the end of their contracts. Skriniar looks to be announced at PSG any day now, so I'm not going to include him in this, but de Vrij's future looks a little less guaranteed, which makes him my first contender. The other contenders are Sergio Ramos, Carlos Soyuncu, Daniel Amate, Yerry Mina, Inigo Martinez, Axel Tuanzebe, Samuel Umtiti, Nikola Maximovic, Maya Yoshida and Danilo D'Ambrosio. A number of really good players in this position who are available. A lot of them still performing to the highest level or are in their prime as well. The 2 boys at Leicester could get into most teams in most of the top leagues, as could Mina and Tuanzebe. Martinez is rumoured to be joining Barcelona, which I wouldn't blame them for, as he is brilliant. Umtiti has been unlucky with injuries, but he is still a top level player, and Maximovic, Yoshida and D'Ambrosio, although all are past it, all are still good players who would slot into a lot of teams. However, I think the standout is clearly Sergio Ramos, and a partnership of him and De Vrij would scare the best of attackers. Left back, this is possibly going to be an even weaker choice than right back. Our top contenders are Sead Kolasinac, Aaron Martin, Jordi Alba, Daley Blind and Alfonso Espino. Ruben Duarte and Marvin Plattenhardt wouldn't be bad options either, but one was playing in the second division and one finished bottom of their league, so we won't consider them in this compared to the other 5. Kolasinac and Espino both played a lot of football last season and were important members of their individual teams, whereas Daley Blind unfortunately didn't play a lot, but he has so much experience and quality that we've got to consider him. Aaron Martin probably wouldn't be known by a lot of you, but he played a lot of games for Mainz last year and was actually prolific with 8 direct goal involvements as a left back. He is only 26 years of age and actually would be a really solid pick for a lot of teams, but there is one man who has won everything and was still playing regularly for the team who won La Liga last season, and that is Jordi Alba. He is getting on, but he is still such a class player and the experience that he brings is unbeatable. I've got to pick him. Centre midfield, a big position to look at now, and there are quite a few big players to choose from. Elis Kiri, Nampalys Mendy, Timu Bakayoko, Dala Kozayev, Tom Davies, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Roberto Pereira, Ross Barkley, Andres Iniesta, João Moutinho, Roque Messi, and Roberto Gagliardini are just some of the top quality players available in this position. The majority of these options are actually still only in their late 20s or early 30s as well, which puts them in the prime time of their career. All of these players have had big careers. A bunch of them have moved for big money in the past, and most of them have won tons of trophies. Moutinho and Kazayev are probably the closest to getting in this team for me out of the remainder of the contenders here, as Moutinho is still bossing it at the top level and Kazayev has been a star player in Russia for years. But for me, the 2 I'm picking are Skahiri and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Skahiri is a real class player who will protect an aging backline incredibly well, whilst being able to spray the ball forward for the attackers, and Ox would be able to do the running, the tracking and the pushing forward of the ball with it at his feet. I think the 2 of them will be an interesting partnership, to be fair. Central attacking midfield, moving on to the attacking midfield position out of the middle 3 now, and to be fair, a few of the previous contenders could slot in here, and there are a number of outside options like Bradley Dack and Daniel Johnson coming out of the Championship. But I'm going to be looking at Daichi Kamada, Jesse Lingard, Manuel Lanzini, James Rodriguez and Isco. James Rodriguez is definitely past it, despite only being 31 years of age still, but his quality on the ball is still superb, and if he sorted out his attitude, he'd probably still do a job in Europe. I have always admired Isco as well, and he is also only 31, but he does seem to be on a bit of a downward way. I think he is still a good player and would perform for a lot of teams. Jesse Lingard, on the other hand, had a very disappointing season, and I think he will be raring to prove his doubters wrong with whichever team he joins, whereas Manuel Lanzini is still playing consistently at a good standard. I personally like him to stay in the Prem. But my standout for this position is Kamada. I really like the player. He's so technical with the ball at his feet and contributes massively to his team with 9 goals and 7 assists in the league last season, whilst he got 3 goals in 8 Champions League games and 4 goals in 6 DFB Pokal games. All of this sandwiching a great World Cup for him. Clinical, technical and an all-round great player at the age of 26. I'd actually consider taking him at Liverpool, to be honest. Never mind just in this free agent team. Onto the front 3 now, and our contenders for right wing are Marco Asensio, Nathan Redmond, Adama Traore, Angel Di Maria and Lucas Moura. Redmond is coming off the back of a good season out in Turkey and one that may have actually revitalised his career a little bit. He'd be a good pickup for a lot of teams. The 2 players from the Prem, Traore and Moura, are both household names at this point and will each probably find a team very easily, but I do think that they both fall just short in my pick for this position. Then you have the 2 who are probably the biggest contenders, the World Cup winning Angel Di Maria and the always brilliant Marco Asensio. Now, this position is a tough pick, to be honest, and the World Cup win is a big push for Di Maria, but I think we already have quite an old squad here, and Asensio's performances across the whole season have been more prolific, to be fair. Plus, he's a personal favourite of mine, so I'm going to go with him. Left wing, to the other side of the pitch now, and we have some major players for this position. Wilfried Zaha, Jonathan Bamba, Ben Brereton, Diaz, Fabio Borini and Eden Hazard are the contenders here. A few honourable mentions are Ayoze Perez, Mohamed Elyounoussi and Andre Ayew as well, but they don't get into my contenders for this team. It is a strange one how Eden Hazard's career has just spiralled over the past couple of seasons. He was one of the best players in the world, and still to this day I speak about how watching him play in person was one of the most majestic performances I've ever seen. I hope he gets picked up by a good team, and I hope he gets the chance to recapture at least a portion of what he had. Elyounoussi at Southampton was originally a contender for me, but I swapped him out for Borini. Some of you might think that is mad based on your knowledge of him for Liverpool years ago, but the guy is coming off the back of 20 goals and 9 assists from 30 games in the Super League this season. I know it isn't the strongest of leagues, but that is a phenomenal output, and I don't know why that isn't being spoken about more in the media. Ben Brayton Diaz has been fantastic for Blackburn since he added Diaz to the end of his name, and at only 24 years of age, he'd be a steal for so many teams in the Premier League, and I'd like to see him make the jump up. Jonathan Bamba is a class act, rapid, clinical, and very nearly gets into this team, but I can't look past Zaha. Wilfried Zaha has been Crystal Palace's star player since 2011, forgetting the brief stint at United, and particularly over the past few seasons has been one of the best wingers in the Premier League. Bags of talent, speed, aggression, and a goal scorer. Zaha would walk into most teams, and he is going into this one. Striker, last position on the pitch now, and it is the big one. Striker. There are so many top players available for this position, such as Bastos, Kevin Gamero, Valère Germain, Odi Nagalo, Diogo Costa, Britt Sombolonga, and Mariano Diaz, all of which don't even get into my contenders list. For this position, I am looking at Roberto Firmino, Moussa Dembele, Alfredo Morelos, Josh Meyer, and Alexis Sanchez. Meyer was playing in the second division of France last year, but he was bagging them in, and at 24 years of age, I think he will be picked up by a good team in one of the top leagues this summer. Alfredo Morelos has been the star man for Rangers for years now, and despite his poor discipline, he'll probably get picked up by a good team. Then we have Moussa Dembele, who, despite not having the strongest of seasons in 22-23, has been a top player for a number of years and is a very good option to have. Alexis Sanchez had his best season years at Marseille this year, and I am surprised that he hasn't signed on to a new contract there. But there is only one man to lead this team, and that is Bobby Firmino. What a player he's been for Liverpool, a vital cog in what was the best attacking three in the world for a couple of seasons, and to have finished his Liverpool career with his most prolific season since 2018-2019 was a great way to finish it. He's a top player and he could play for any team in the world, and I do think he will join one of the top dogs of European football this summer. Roberto Firmino, get in the team, son. And there we go, guys. That is my free agent best 11. I looked at a bunch of contenders for each position, and that is the team I think would do best if it was playing right now. If you liked what you watched, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below what you thought of my picks. If you'd like to check me out across some of my other socials, I am on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, where you're watching this video, all under the same handle, Bolts96, but the O is 0. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.